So I looked at my wife and I said, we're gonna go for this. The likelihood of me winning is very small. I don't really have the best history of winning contests, but regardless, I'm gonna use this opportunity to dream big and plan, let it propel me into the next phase of video, cinematography, whatever I can do. And so I quickly started putting together some plans as far as, what's my 90-second pitch gonna be like? How can I spend $100,000? Because I've never spent $100,000. I wanted to do the recording, like the talking head portion of the video, in a more professional setting. I had a friend in Nashville. He's a producer. He's got a pretty sick setup. And so I thought, let's just hit him up. We'll travel up there. So I live in Georgia, and it's about a 3.5-hour drive to Nashville. So we thought, let's just do it. It's gonna be easy. So we planned that, and at the same time, before we leave, I'm simultaneously planning another shot that I want with a friend of a friend who's married to somebody who owns a boat. Long line there of, connections. And they have this boat, they go wakeboarding, and I thought it'd be pretty cool to get some shots on there because, who doesn't like boats, lakes, wakeboarding? It's a pretty sick time. So I'm coordinating all this, and it actually lines up right next to each other, where on Saturday we have to drive up to Nashville and we have to record the video, and then the next day at 2 p.m. we have to be in South Carolina where this boat is going to be at to record another scene. I figured this will be easy. We'll drive through the night, or we'll stay somewhere quick and then drive over. And I was not prepared for how exhausted this was and how so many things were going to go wrong for me. And it was a 5-hour trip from Nashville to South Carolina where I needed to be. So we have everything planned leading up to that Saturday. So we drive up around 12 noon, get to my friend's house, spend the whole day. I ended up recording the talking head portion of this video around 9 o'clock and knocked it out in about 15, 20 minutes, just did a couple of takes. So this is where magic will be happening, but like I said earlier, I had to drive up to Tennessee because I don't have a setup like this. But so Andrew produces music. I feel like if I knew how to operate this kind of stuff, I'd be addicted. In a way, I'm kind of learning it like video-wise, like with editing and stuff. But
so similar.
That's replacing TV. Like, people are gonna want to watch that as a show. We stayed till midnight there, and we had a good time. We head over to our Airbnb that's 30 minutes south. When we get there, I'm traveling with my wife and my 9-month-old daughter. She's getting fussy. She's just going through growth spurs. She would not go to sleep. And so we were really, really exhausted. We were super tired. The weird thing too is that every hotel for some reason was booked that day, that weekend. We couldn't find anything comparable to something that's just a little more private. And so we had to book a Airbnb, but it was a room in a house where all the other rooms were being booked by other people. It's not soundproof. It's not like a lot of hotels where you can just get by with a crying baby. And so there were so many times that night we didn't get any sleep because we stayed up till around 3 o'clock trying to get her to go to sleep. I had to go to the car several times just to get her tired and walk around with her, entertain her. So by the time I could get back in, she'd be tired, put her down in the crib. This happened 3 or 4 times where I had to keep walking out, disturbing other people. It was bad. Finally, I get back into the room after trying like the 3rd or 4th time. I look at my wife and I said, we just gotta go. We cannot stay here. We cannot be rude to these people. We just gotta go. Let's go straight home. Let's take an hour or 2 nap and let's just drive to South Carolina. This has been one of the craziest experiences. I'm shooting a video. It's supposed to be a minute and 90 seconds for the Artlist 100 fund. It's 4 in the morning right now. We have not been able to rest properly. We'll probably give some more detail. I'll talk about it more a little later, but absolutely exhausted. We were already so dead tired at this point because we just had not gotten any sleep for, I want to say about like 20 hours, 18 to 20 hours. So we drive home and it's only about 3.5 hours, but we were so tired. We had to take several stops along the way to take 30, 45 minute naps. Initially, we were going to have about 2 to 3 hours to sleep at our house before we could drive straight over to South Carolina because these times were just really close together. When we got to the house, we only got to sleep for about an hour and a half. So we were just super sleep deprived. After an hour and a half of sleeping, we get over to South Carolina. We were supposed to meet at 2. couple of delays. I was gonna meet at the same time with my friend because he's the one connection that we had. And he tells me, hey, I'm gonna be there closer to 3. So we pull over to the side of a road. I'm just messing around with some footage, just kind of clearing things up and just organizing some files so that when I get home to edit, I'd like to have everything more or less organized, and that way I'm not just kind of searching through everything. And I made the mistake of clicking delete. I formatted everything that I had shot. And I have never been so shocked. I looked at my wife. I don't get emotional. I'm like teary-eyed. I don't get emotional that easily. But man, I felt this one. We were so sleep deprived, and everything that we had worked and driven for and fought for to record and plan, I just deleted. It was gone. So we get to the boat, shoot everything, we record everything. I think it's about like 7:30 we get done, 6 o'clock. And we still had to make it back home. We get home around 9:30. I already know that I have a lot of work to do, especially because I have to recover all this data somehow or re-record all of this. So we get home, we go to sleep. The next day, in between work and other things and chores and just so much going on, I spend 8 hours and I finally recover the footage. Had to pay some fees for some software, but regardless, the point is it's doable. So I recover it, and I spend the next 8 to 16 hours polishing up the edit. I had the thumbnail, I had the title, I had everything ready to go. By the time I get done to render, I go through it one more time, and I notice that something is off with the talking head. What everything was writing on, what I recorded in Nashville, in my friend's studio, specifically there for that setting. So I listened to the recording, and I thought, this doesn't sound good. So I look at my wife, and because she likes to watch these videos along with me for the editing process, just to give me some very valuable feedback, she says something's off with the audio. Artlist is giving away $100,000 to one lucky winner to fund their big dream project. When I recorded, I had a shotgun mic attached to my camera. It turns out it was never fully connected. And so the audio was just, it sounded almost like hollow, empty. We get one shot to live this life to the fullest and tell the best story ever told. And it did not pack that punch that I really wanted to. I could pick up on the fact that this did not sound good. The music was spot on. I thought the images were great too. I put some work into that, color grading and all that kind of stuff. The audio was just selling. And my wife looked at me and she said, this looks cheap. That was a punch to the gut because she's right. But now I'm reflecting on the fact that we did all this driving, we almost lost our minds, and now the video, I have to re-record it. I ended up re-recording it. But the point is, the message of that video, of the pitch that I'm actually throwing out to Artlist was, I want to be a better storyteller for my daughter. I've never really been the best storyteller, and I've always struggled with that imaginative process of coming up with a world and a plot and a twist. But over the years, I've specifically dedicated myself to reading a lot of ancient, modern, and everything in between kind of history, so that when I tell stories to my daughter when she's old enough, I can give it a little bit of a twist. I can make it interesting and draw from the past. And so the video, in the video, I pitched that I want to tell better stories, which is the reason I started this YouTube channel in the beginning. I gave myself 5 years to really test out, the proof of concept. I mean, I'm learning things I never thought I would. But throughout this experience, all the ups and the downs, it gave me a story. I enjoyed the whole process, as stressful as it may be, but it gave me a story, and it gave me meaning to pass along to my daughter, which this is all going to be a video. It's going to go on the account. It's going to fit the narrative that I'm trying to build there. But in the end, it was tough for me. Even though this video was only a minute and a half, looking back on it, it encourages me to not give up in telling a story. Because if a story is told well, if it has purpose to it, it's going to be drawing from other parts of your life, from the past, from your desires in the future, whatever it is, it's going to tell a story, it's going to have meaning. So tell it. Do everything you can to tell it. And I want that to be the very first vocally significant message to my daughter, as well as to anybody else listening. Tell a story, make it full of meaning, and make it so impactful that it encourages the next generation to continue telling stories. The reason stories are very, very important is because they draw from knowledge and wisdom in the past. They draw from stories where we've come from to tell us what is going on now, to teach us how to live in the future, and to just live better and more meaningful lives. So that is why I decided to continue on with this pitch to Artlist. I'm going to continue following up on this. If I don't make it, that's fine. The biggest win for me is the fact that I learned something, I got to push myself, it was stressful, and I would redo it all over again, just so that my daughter can see in the future that dad was willing to keep going, to strive to do his best, and to tell me, give me a message that is gonna serve me good in the future. So I think in the end, the message to anybody is tell a story, draw from wisdom of the past, learn that, sit at wisdom's feet, and see how it impacts your life and helps you enjoy it and give it so much meaning that you cannot wait for tomorrow.